Resident Evil is one of Capcom's most legendary franchises, pioneering the survival horror genre by immersing players in terrifying encounters where every bullet counts. Over the years, the series has evolved, but no entry has had as profound an impact as Resident Evil 4. Released in 2005, the game transformed survival horror forever, shifting away from the slow-paced, pre-rendered backgrounds of the past and introducing a dynamic over-the-shoulder camera that redefined how action and horror games were played. The making of a game-changer. The Resident Evil franchise had already solidified itself as a horror staple by the late 90s, with its fixed camera angles, resource management, and suspense-driven gameplay. However, by the early 2000s, Capcom knew it needed to innovate. The initial development of Resident Evil 4 took several unexpected turns, with early versions of the game ultimately evolving into Devil May Cry due to their drastic departures from survival horror. A fresh development phase began in 2001, with Capcom's focus on creating a more action-oriented experience. This iteration of Resident Evil 4 introduced real-time combat, quick-time events, and a more agile protagonist in Leon S. Kennedy. The game was initially part of the Capcom 5, a lineup of exclusive titles meant to boost Nintendo GameCube sales. However, Resident Evil 4 later expanded to multiple platforms, reaching an even larger audience. A bold shift in survival horror. Resident Evil 4 threw players into an eerie Spanish village, where Leon Kennedy, now a government agent, was tasked with rescuing the president's kidnapped daughter, Ashley Graham. Instead of the traditional zombies, Capcom introduced the terrifying Los Ganados, infected villagers controlled by the sinister parasite Las Plagas. This new enemy type was more intelligent, aggressive, and capable of using weapons, heightening the tension like never before. The game's over-the-shoulder perspective was its biggest innovation. This new viewpoint allowed for precise aiming, making every bullet count while maintaining the suspenseful atmosphere. This design choice influenced countless future games, from horror classics like Dead Space to action-packed shooters like Gears of War. A legacy that still shapes gaming. Upon its release, Resident Evil 4 was met with universal acclaim, praised for its cinematic storytelling, tight gameplay mechanics, and balanced mix of action and horror. It not only revitalized the Resident Evil franchise, but also set a new standard for third-person shooters and horror games alike. Even today, its influence remains strong. The Resident Evil 4 remake, released in 2023, brought modernized visuals, improved gameplay mechanics, and new horror elements, further proving that the original game's design was ahead of its time. Ultimately, Resident Evil 4 was more than just a game. It was a turning point for survival horror and action gaming as a whole. Its bold innovations reshaped the industry, ensuring its place as one of the most influential video games of all time.